April. It's also Arbor Day, and that's a very important celebratory day in my world because of my deep connection to trees. Um, I have a very, very special place in my heart. Oh, looks like, we didn't go live when I thought. Greetings, dear ones. Happy Friday, the 24th of April. Um, it's also a very, very important day in my world because this is Arbor Day and following close on the heels of Earth Day. But trees and I have a very special relationship, and I'm actually a tree guard, is probably the best way to word it or name it. Um, and over the many years, I have studied them both biologically and energetically, and really worked and communicated with them in such a way that um, I feel it allows for the deep relationship and communion that they're calling for, and as well as we as humans need. Um, Last night, I had a beautiful group of ladies doing a very deep earth dive with me yesterday. And a lot of the conversation was about how we can um, change our relationship with the earth, or man's relationship with the earth, by not only being aware of some of the detrimental effects, but moreover, in the connection and communication and cooperation and collaboration with the trees. For example, it recognizes and acknowledges the beingness, the non-human consciousness that is very evident to many, even those that are not tuned in energetically. Many of you may be familiar with Peter Wallenburn, probably not pronouncing his name correctly, The Hidden Life of Trees. I encourage you to get that book and read it, not only for what it shares about trees, but moreover gives you a really strong sense of um, how non-human beings live, communicate, help one another, care for one another. And this is all in a 20-year study of a particular forest in Germany, I believe, that this man, from a scientific perspective initially, and really understood, was became able to see a different way of nature, and therefore able to track and um, see, feel, hear, know what was going on among and between trees. And he's not the only one. There's many, many, many other studies out there. There's beautiful TED Talks. Um, I There's a scientist who was actually, her background comes from her family who were actually loggers, but her grandfather logged in a very sustainable way in the forest in Canada. And she now works for a large company, and they have sought her out for information on how to log um, consciously, if you will, or sustainably, whereas most logging companies just go in and simply cut. And that was the focus of last night's deep earth dive, was the fact that when we look at or um, assume that the earth, aspects of nature, trees, mountains, flowers, animals, insects, are all merely things, then our ability to unconsciously or selfishly or greedily use, abuse, neglect, um, all of the many ways in which we are creating harm, not only for the planet, but for ourselves. Because ultimately, the planet doesn't need us. If we were to be hit by an asteroid and all human life on the planet died and there was damage to the earth, she would recover. There is a marvelous movie. It's the most recent um, time traveler movie. Um, it was made in the 60s and then remade again. And there's a great graphic in this newer movie that when he's in the time machine, it's based on the book, The Time Machine. And when he falls forward, he hits the handle and is unconscious, and time goes by, and they're showing in video form what happens to the earth over thousands and thousands of years, because he stays unconscious for quite some time and the time is spinning. The time clock is moving very fast. And it really is the story of how Earth changes and evolves and grows, and then there's destruction and comes back again. So the Earth itself will be fine. It is us. It is us that needs the Earth in order to survive. And one of those main factors are trees. Trees serve so many purposes biologically, in agronomy, in the geology of the land. Um, Not to mention the fact that they are the earth's lungs, which I'm sure you've heard referred to. But they hold the soil in place as well. If we continue to cut down trees in our urban and suburban communities, we're finding a lot more runoff, a lot less nutrients in the soil. It they soak up the excess water. Um, I had a flood here quite a few years ago, and one of the large cleaning companies came in that sucks out all the water and dries the area and treats it. And the owner said, that he's finding this happening, and of course it's good for his business, but he's finding this happening more and more and more because what he called, his words, the land's sponges are being removed. So that is actually costing us a great deal financially, as well as just in our day to day lives, having more, having less variety, less trees, less of what they actually engender into the land. So the erosion issue is a large one. They also happen to be the oldest living organisms on the planet. We have many other aspects of Earth, of course, that are thousands of years old, but not considered biologically living. There are trees on this planet that are thousands of years old. The redwoods, the baobab, there are many. Unfortunately, one of the oldest in this country was cut down a couple of years ago in Florida by a woman who simply didn't like it near her property, and so she cut it down. Um, and I myself was very challenged this past 10 days as we're moving into Earth Day and Arbor Day. I had a neighbor who, over a period of quite a few days, had multiple trees cut down, multiple branches off of some very, very large trees. And the raccoons that I leave food out for disappeared for several days. I was very concerned that they had either moved on or were in a dangerous area where they might be run over or killed. And raccoons are beautiful creatures, amazing creatures that are part of the circle of life, even in our suburban neighborhoods. Opossums, they also benefit from the trees, and they're the ones who actually keep down the tick population. One of the reasons why naturists are saying that we have such a large tick issue these days is because the opossums have been um, eliminated. So, or at least greatly diminished in the areas where the ticks have increased. So there's many different reasons, there's many different benefits, not only their beauty, but we're losing many of the birds that nest in the trees and use the trees as shelter. Again, science reports that there are science journals that I'm connected to have reported that there is a 70% decrease in the amount and variety of birds here just in the United States. Now, why is that an issue? Because certain birds are connected to certain trees, and they're actually the pollinators. We think of more bees and butterflies being the pollinators, but many birds are. They eat the fruit or and take the and go to other areas, and in their droppings there are seeds for saplings. Even dead trees have a purpose. Every aspect of a tree's life is very, very significant and very purposeful and very vital to our survival as part of that circle of life. One of the many things that Peter Wallenburn, um, again, Peter, sorry for mispronouncing your name, discovered is that trees are very, very social beings. They communicate with one another through the root, not only through the root system, but actually through, particularly if there's fungi in the area, mushrooms. They are the great communicators, or the great communication network. But trees will do so through their very roots from one another over rather large distances. It's kind of like the old game we used to play, telephone, from one person to another to another. And they will actually send out a warning if there is danger of some sort, be it a fungus, be it a particular insect that is causing a problem. They will send nutrients to one another. If there's a tree that is lacking in a certain nutrient, then their family of trees will send that tree whatever nutrients it may need. Um, they have a language all their own through smell and taste and electrical impulses. So there is a great deal of non-human communication that goes on a biological basis that we have yet to create the technology to pick up a lot of the information, and yet we're destroying so much that we may not have an opportunity if we continue on this path. And that's one of the things that, again, we were really emphasizing last night in the group, is that it is in that recognition and acknowledgement and connection and communication that we each can um, participate in on a daily basis with different aspects of our planet and nature, which actually perpetuates them. It's much like any relationship that we have. If you do not contact the person, if you do not communicate with them, if you do not collaborate in helping one another and seeing the essence in another person, and continuing that relationship no matter how they may upset or annoy you. If we maintain those relationships, they become stronger. So too with all the different aspects of earth. So last night when we were creating the container for the group, um, and putting in place some of the things that we are concerned about or would like to see transformed in our world. One of the people, for example, put in her concern for the way we raise our poultry and the way that animals in general are treated, livestock is treated in from our food sources. And that's not going to change until we feel into the change we would like to see in the world. So the invitation is to not just get upset or send some compassion to an aspect of earth when an article or news report comes um, into your purview, but to actually then drop in through you the inner world of you, the inner verse of you, and feel into how it will be when those animals are valued and respected and treated not merely humanely, but as a being. So it's a non-combative, a very non or mutually dualistically acceptable way. In other words, instead of perpetuating the dualism of the wrong or the detrimental or harmful effect, when you sink into either the deep primordial foundational matrix, which we're going to be working with and learning how to create in, or through rather, in the upcoming class, Applied Earth Magic, and in the group Earth Elders. So please keep an eye out for those. One is going to be starting very soon. And using that very unique, very particular way that you have brought to this planet to be able to create. The other wonderful place to uh, put your desire for change into is the Higgs field that physics has not only discovered, but is now exploring how that Higgs field, which is in physics uh, perspective, it makes up the entire universe. In other words, they have found that there is a field of energy that connects all things within the universe. This was the search through the super collider for the Higgs boson molecule. So, yes, the Higgs boson atom that links everything together, this web. And they're now finding that it is our consciousness that not only creates but and maintains this web. So in that desire for something to change in the world, instead of getting angry, instead of getting hurt, instead of getting upset, we each have the power to place into these fields the way we would like to design the new earth or a new way. So you're very, very powerful creators, each and every one of you. And today our focus is on trees because they are such partners to us. They are such givers. Energetically, they bring many different uh, attributes, that of abundance, generosity. Think of the fruit trees, the nut trees, our shade. Um, there's so many things that trees give. And those that I mentioned earlier about protecting wildlife and the soil itself. One of the other things that trees have always represented is patience. Trees live generally a very, very long life, and the world moves very slowly in their world. And we're all experiencing some of that now, that slowing down, the pause. So it's a wonderful time to receive um, in assistance and knowledge from these patient, slow moving beings on our planet. Um, One of the things I wanted to share also is from a Native American perspective. One of my go-to references for, I'd say the past 25 years has been Jamie Sams, both with the medicine cards and the animals, as well as she has quite a few different books. I think she has passed because there is no way to source her. I have tried for many, many years, but her books are still very available and very alive. These are books that you can open, ask, what do I need to know? Open the book, and it will always be true as far as guidance. It will always be exactly right for you. And so she has, I'm looking at right now, the Sacred Pathway book. Sacred Path. It comes with cards, and there are different layouts that you can do, which I highly recommend. But she has quite a few different uh, representatives of the Native American tradition on a spiritual basis. And I just wanted to read, because today is Arbor Day, to give you an idea of some of the ways in which you can benefit from the spiritual and energetic aspect. She says the Standing People card speaks to us of roots and giving. We must nurture ourselves through connection to the earth in order to give freely without exhaustion. The root of the self is where strength is gathered. This root should be firmly earthed in the soil of our mother planet. Without this connection, dreams cannot manifest, and our giving cannot be compensated by the Earth Mother. If you are spaced out, stop and reconnect. Be still and become the trees in order to observe what is growing in your forest. The root of every answer for physical life is found in the earth. Look to your family tree for strength offered by your ancestors. And the ancestors have been extremely vocal and very present this past month or more as we've been going into this absolutely unprecedented occurrence on the planet. And those ancestors have experienced in many ways some of what we are dealing with right now. The threat and unknownness of a virus, certainly with plagues, it wasn't always known the source or the cause. So many people had no way of even knowing that they were transmitting it, and millions have died at certain points throughout our history as humans. So this knowledge is in our DNA. We have, even if you don't align with the idea of previous existences here on the planet or previous lives, you hold this within your DNA. and that ancestral knowledge, that ancestral fortitude, that ancestral overcoming is within us. So it's a wonderful time. I really invite everyone to turn to some of your old photos or traditions that you have in your families and tap into some of the ancestors and relatives that maybe you have known in your life that have passed, but moreover into the many ancestors that you probably or may not be able to trace back, and allow yourself to receive some information from them on from a guidance perspective. And that guidance can come in. It's not necessarily always nice, clear English sentences, as I always say. It can come in symbolic form, in a sound, a picture, a something on the television, a truck driving by with an image or words, logo on it. There are so many resources that your beyond human communication language channels can transmit to you. So be very open, just as I mentioned, taking a book and opening it up. That is communication. Just wanted to check and see. So look to your family tree for the strength offered by your ancestors. Lift your branches high, seeking the light of Grandfather Sun, and you will see how your roots make you of the earth and yet a bridge to the sky world. Ask yourself if you are willing to give and receive. The standing people are asking you to give of yourself. And, we're finding that right now, people who have either been furloughed from their jobs or are not actually physically being in their offices or whatever setting they normally worked in, are being invited to find other sources, whether it's on virtual classes, whether it's really exploring what gives you joy, your hobbies, the things that you wanted to do as a child if society hadn't laid down a bunch of requirements of, education and the steps to becoming successful. So really feel into these. This is about bringing out your essence. This may be an opportunity to develop a business or a means of expressing that. There's so much creativity available to us right now. So that's what you're being invited to do. Count the root of every blessing with gratitude. Find any blockage that limits your root system or ability to go deeper. And again, that's one of the huge benefits of this time. It's so difficult at the pace and speed and complexity that we're used to stop and drop in, to feel ourselves, to receive information from our inner world, our inner verse, our intuition, our innate, receive inspiration. All of these are inside jobs, so I say. Remove that, find any blockage that limits your root system or ability to go deeper. Then remove that feeling and go deeper once again for the answers you seek. Remember that we are also the root of the future, and through our lives, future generations are nurtured. Weed out anything that will inhibit future growth, and you can stand proud among your tree relations. So isn't that just so perfect of everything that we've certainly been talking about and dropping into in these Facebook Fridays? This ability at this point in time to create anew, that is my information as to why we have called this situation in. And we have such an opportunity to be able to feel into, and not only ourselves, but feel into the land we live on, the environments and ecosystems that surround us and are distant to us. One of the most important things is to connect back into the earth, back into the cycles and the rhythms of earth, since we are out of the artificially placed time cycles or time constraints that society that we've developed, whether it's 9 to 5, this is when you do this is when you do that, stores put in certain products promoting at that time of the year. We're the ones that decide. We're the ones that call in how we want our future to be. And this situation we're in is giving us the greatest opportunity for those ideas, dreams, desires to be planted in to the creation matrix, or the Higgs field of consciousness, to create the world we wish to live in. And today we are asking assistance from what Native Americans refer to as the standing people, for there is a recognition in Native American teaching, indigenous teaching all over the world for that matter, that each and every thing on this planet has a beingness. And when that beingness is felt and recognized, then that being is perpetuated. So today we are offering respect and honoring and deep gratitude and relationship, friendship to and with the trees on our planet, forests. We have so many different settings. And I really encourage you, if you can, to watch some of the amazing nature programs of Sir David Attenborough. They have been available all week on BBC America. They constantly play them over, generally on the weekends. So it's a great time. You can find him on YouTube. It is a way in which we can connect, communicate, collaborate with, cooperate with, and commune with this amazing planet. And some of the places that are most arid have very unusual trees, but everywhere, except perhaps Antarctica, have these wonderful beings, these giving beings. So I encourage you now, look out a window, find a tree that you can connect to, and receive it not only through your eyes, but receive it through your body, through your energy field. These are ways in which we are deeply connected to these amazing organisms beyond the intellect, beyond the mind. So hopefully you're sitting in your chair on your butt bones in such a way that can allow the skeletal system to do what it knows how to do, is hold your body up so you don't have to, and you can sink down and in and through your body to be able to travel to a state of being or an altered state wherein you are able to actually energetically, spiritually connect and perhaps even communicate with a tree being. So, as always, I invite you to just say to yourself, or if you're in a space where you can say it out loud, it usually becomes more powerful to you to say, I ask and I allow my body. I ask and I allow my energy field. I ask and I allow my wider self. I ask and I allow my guides, teachers, masters. I ask and I allow all parts of me. I ask and I allow all times of me to join me here and now, assisting me in going down and in through this amazing vehicle of a physical body to drop deeply inside your inner verse. That's the universe within you. As always, I'm going to call in and call upon Mikhail, holding us in safety and security within mutual duality, allowing for all aspects, that which appears positive and that which appears negative. For all is all, and that which looks to be negative is still divine. So when we sit in this mutual duality, it allows us to see that which is presented as a problem or a destructive, whether it's the cutting down of the trees, whether it's the dismissal of their beingness, whether it is taking vast millions of acres of the Amazon for a few, or the destruction of other rainforests around the world to make furniture, inexpensive furniture that we have access to. We all have choice. And when you see and know what is occurring, you have the opportunity to make choice, whether it's in your physical life by not purchasing or spending money on items or companies that are not sustainably producing. This is an opportunity not merely to change the physical state of affairs, but for us to drop in to a deeper level of who we are and the beingness of all things on this planet. A different way of being. Instead of the old way, the Piscean way, of very few holding power and resources, we are moving into a time where all participate, where all have a voice. The Aquarian or feminine way of connection, communication, cooperation, collaboration, and communion. This is what will perpetuate life on this planet. And in the recognition and acknowledgement of the beingness of trees, these amazingly social creatures on whom so many depend and rely upon for homes, food, shelter, perpetuation of their species. And as we recognize and acknowledge and value these beings, our way, our old way of treating them, mistreating them, abusing, dismissing, will evolve. As in any relationship, there must be respect, acknowledgement, valuing. So allow yourself to truly feel that for a tree that you may have near you, on your land, out your window, somewhere you enjoy going. For as we hold this caring, giving of our deeper selves to the tree beings, the standing ones, the exchange of energy, the exchange of love and compassion will shift and change the way humans view, treat, connect with, communicate with, cooperate with, collaborate with. Allowing for the communion, receiving into your body, your energy field, your spirit, all that these amazing creatures have, hold, offer, give, to us, and have done for thousands of years. Allow yourself to sink even deeper. There are so many trees that cradle and house and shelter. Allow yourself to receive that energy of embracing and holding and sheltering and protecting. Let that energy flow into any area of your mental body, your emotional body that has felt vulnerable or fearful or scared during this time. Allow yourself to drink in the beautiful energetic transmission from the trees near you and the trees from afar all around the planet. For in this energetic space, there is no distance. There is no time that interferes with the transmission from one being to another. From the Amazon to our national forests, to the European forests that have recovered so often to the many trees that are the one source for nutrients and water in many of the most arid and dry places on our planet. Each and every time you drop in deeply to your inner universe, connecting with the very tree of life, rooting you in into life on this planet. And being the bridge, allowing the branches of your creativity, your desires, your dreams to reach far and wide. dropping seeds and multiplying. Allow yourself to receive and experience you as that tree, that bridge between heaven and earth. And as the integration process begins, allow yourself to feel the incorporation of what you have experienced into your system, into your body, into your spirit. Enabling you to walk and move in this plane, in this physical plane, yet with the accumulated knowledge and experience from non-physical planes of you. So very, very gently allowing that physicalization, that moving from a less physical to a more physical state in your own unique way. Organically, and when and as you are ready, open your eyes and have some water, or if you prefer to actually continue and stay in this energetic space, that's wonderful, and it's entirely up to you. But if you must get on with your day, the integration process is now complete. So we are all back to this more consensus reality, yet at the same time, you might feel still some of that energetic expansiveness, and that's wonderful. So much more I'd like to share with you about trees, and perhaps we can do so in an upcoming class. But until next time, until next Friday, I encourage each of you to please let me know if you had any insights or any questions about today at Andrea@healersuniverse.com. And I will be doing another on Sunday at 12 noon. We may be continuing with the trees here on Facebook, 12 noon on Sunday. the 26th. Until then, be well, enjoy, and commune with the beautiful standing beings. Much love. Be well always.